Well, it's certainly been an interesting start to our League Two season with Southend United. We're doing okay on the pitch despite a lack of squad depth and a few poor performers. More importantly, perhaps though, it's deadline day tomorrow, and in some areas, we've got to move on to our second targets. Yes, hello, and welcome along to part 17 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. We are back today to face Walsall at home before what might be a pretty busy transfer deadline day. We've started the season okay on the pitch, but we've not got a big enough squad to compete, and there's still two or three additions I'd like to make, but I'm having to go for second or third choice targets now. If you want to meet them, see who they are, and whether we can get them in the door, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Hopefully John Steele will have one or two surprises for us as well. But there's certainly a surprise in the opposition dugout today, because Walsall are managed by Jonathan Woodgate, who is now having a go in League Two, and so far has started pretty similarly to us. Let's go and have a look though at the transfers and the schedule, because it's been a mixed start for some of our new boys and we're bedding people in gradually. You can see one of them is already starring as top scorer and a few others aiming to do a little bit better, as you can see from a certain person who got a red card on their debut. But let's go and have a look at the transfers first. I'll show you what's been going on. We missed out on Leighton Stewart up front. I did go for him in the end on loan. Didn't happen, and unfortunately, we can't find a way to get it done. We also haven't had any further shift from Kieran Phillips on his wage demands. He was the striker slash left winger I was looking to bring in. So Jaden Dans may be the latest one we go for. He's at Bromley, and we've offered the release clause, which is 140 grand, fairly modest wage as well. He is an advanced forward who's got bundles of pace, good ability without being standout. He was the second top scorer behind his teammate in the National League South last year, and now he's come up to the National League and started with 4 games, 2 goals, 3 assists. I feel we had to take a look at him. At 19, could be a very good deal, and certainly a chance to make a profit. We have a look at the transfer history though. No further ins or outs since you were last with me. There has been interest in one or two, but no real concrete offers at all. And we are at a stage where, certainly in the Cups at least, we've had to feature youth players because we've been struggling to field a squad. So Alex Byron has had a couple of appearances. He ain't going to be any good if we need to play him for 10 games in the EFL. So we've got to shape up this squad now. Our first team squad is down to 20 players still, which probably isn't enough for both League Two, the EFL Trophy and the FA Cup later in the year. Spoiler alert, we're already out of the League Cup, annoyingly as well. But then you look at some of the players that are in as well. Lewis Page is a walking injury, and D, our backup keeper, is not the most reliable. And there's a few others that have had constant knocks this year. And Lewis Lomas, who might still force his way out, still transfer listed by request despite signing his new deal. But let's have a look at the schedule and see what's been going on. Bit of a mixed bag really, because you were with me for that Swindon game and we were brilliant. There were no concerns from the performance. It was 2 individual errors that cost us the game. And if we perform like that every week, I was confident we were going to be top half. And so far, it's largely proven that way. We drew 2-2 with Crawley in a League Cup with a very rotated team. But we did manage to win it on penalties in the end. You see Nallo got sent off late on. Probably actually saved us the result if I'm being honest, but not an ideal debut. Scott Morris scored a cracker and Aaron Presley got his first for the club. We then beat Ebbsfleet 3-0 in what was a much more even game than it looked. You can see that Parker and Rose were 2 of our best players on the pitch, but the front 2 managed to get the goals. And a fun stat on Harry Cardwell as well. He's only missed 2 penalties for us, both against Ebbsfleet United and the same goalkeeper, who I said was the best in the league last time out, and he threw one in his net in that game. Against Leyton Orient, a frustrating 2-2 draw as we conceded in the 90th minute. Dan Mooney scored, Aaron Presley scored. We had another one of those incidents. A very controversial goal ruled out. I thought it had been given. I was excited thinking we were going to nick the game, but we probably didn't deserve to on the balance of play. We did though at home to Northampton with a really good 3-1 win. Cardwell and Presley, again the goal scoring threats, the 2 big men up top causing chaos with crosses into the box at home. At home to Watford in a League Cup, really annoying. We were actually a pretty even match for them in this game. We missed a couple of good chances. I had to rest Cardwell and that harmed us a bit. But Ndeng D, I bought him in for the cup tie. He was appalling. He was directly at fault for 2 of the goals, didn't cover himself in glory for the other. I mean, it was one of those things. If I'd had the first choice keeper in, arguably it would have been 0-0, but certainly makes me glad that I spent the money where I did to get the big upgrade this summer. With that done though, Walsall is the home game. Lewis Page is injured again. Another former channel hero. Pretty sure we had Farcarson at Hemel Hempstead for a little bit. Very good player. Not going to be worrying about him today. So let's go and get straight into it. The dynamics are pretty good. The team cohesion, the club atmosphere is good. The managerial support's all right. You've got Gus Scott Morris moaning about the lack of squad depth as an advance forward, but we're going to bring in a signing to hopefully address that. And then you've got Lewis Lomas, who is just a mess in terms of his dynamics at the minute. Let's go and get through the fixtures though. Southend v Walsall, 6th v 10th, both on 7 points after 4 games. If we can average 7 from every 4 games, we'll be in the playoffs at the end of the year. We're not going to play our fellow promoted side at home every time, are we? So let's go and get through the tactical meeting. Changes to be made because, of course, we played in a cup on Tuesday night. And we've got a pretty big decision to make as well, because this is one of those games. Do I go for 4-4-2 because it's the home tactic? Or do I go what will actually be the best tactic here, which is probably to put 3 at the back and dominate them out wide? Is that Sam Gallagher up front? He's only 29. How has he ended up here? I've noticed in this year's game, there's a lot more players dropping down earlier, which is perhaps a bit more realistic. Better than them retiring as well. We were linked with Josh Murphy, who wasn't good enough to join us in the end. We still haven't got a replacement in that position. But Sam Gallagher is a level of player we're going to struggle to deal with, particularly given his height and his quality in the air. We've also got Donovan Daniels at the back, who we did have at Luton Town. So he's a player I know pretty well as well, and probably better than what we've got. So let's go and get this team picked. I'm going to go for the back 3. We've got to make some big calls tactically this year, and hopefully I'll get this one right. Well, here's the team we've gone for today, and you can see in most areas it's actually starting to take pretty good shape, but there are a couple of positions where we're struggling either with players, depth or injury, so we've still only got 4 centre-halves, which is a problem. Lomas is playing unhappy at the minute. Nallo it's hard to trust after his first game red card. And then further forward, Will Ferry, having to nurse him through 45 minutes at a time. I cannot have him breaking down again. He was probably our best player when he came in last season. Maybe after Cardwell, the goal scorer. And I need to keep him in that vein of form. We've also got Morehouse struggling with match load. Parker's away on international duty next week. So lots to think about when it comes to rotating the team. But today, we're going as strong as possible. League 2 is the priority. And for our first year in the EFL, the EFL trophy will have to have a miss. We'll play the reserves, and if we get results, so be it. This is the team we've gone for then. It's Daniel Rose in goal. He's had a pretty good start to life at Southend. Kingdom, Parker and Lomas the back 3. Matheson and Tomlinson the wing backs. We've got Erin back in alongside Titchmarsh in the middle. Hilton and Ferry out wide. Sonny Hilton, arguably been our best player this season. And I've opted for Presley above Cardwell up front. We've got a new big man in town. Aaron Presley is the man. He's going to be our first choice. Let's see how he gets on today. We're just the one change for Walsall today, and it's the one we mentioned earlier due to injury, but it's been a good start for Jonathan Woodgate's side, and they'll go above us with a win today. We're only above them on goal difference, but we've got a great crowd in at Southend, sold nearly an extra 1,000 season tickets, getting an average of an extra 2,000 in through the gate. Bigger away followings, bigger home followings, and lots more money into the club. Exactly what we need. Let's see how the first half goes here. Been a quiet start in most of the games, but this time we've got a fairly early highlight as Erin plays a 1-2 with Presley. Hilton misses the ball, but it falls for Matheson. We're playing the away tactic at home and early doors. It has opened an opportunity for us. We're definitely going to dominate this game out wide. It's about how we deal defensively with their central front 3, as Tomlinson gets it on the right here. Finds Titchmarsh, second phase from a free kick. Back into him again. Tomlinson, good ball to Jack Erin. What are those two doing up there? That'll do, won't it? Left wing back to centre midfielder in the 2 centre forward positions. And it's 1-0 to Southend with 9 minutes gone. Nothing could sum up this tactic better than that. And Walsall have got work to do. But I will say this again. Bar the Leighton Orient game and to an extent the Ebbsfleet one, we have been the better side in most games so far. As we lose the header in midfield here for Sam Gallagher. Little bit worried about him and very worried about Lomas in our back 3. Tomlinson does well to hold them up, and Dixon Bonner makes no bones about it. He puts it in a corner from 20 yards. It's a great strike. Really top finish. I thought the danger had passed a bit there, and we were proven very wrong. Very worried about Lomas because the mentality and the dynamic stuff just doesn't make sense, but he's also not as good. So maybe tomorrow, one of the benefits we have got is we're not going to have to worry about loan places in the squad with the window being open till December. So we're just going to try and get in 2 or 3 good players on loan. If we get the striker, we won't have to worry about that. But a left centre half for the back three probably is a priority, as Williams on the edge for Walsall have turned the screw here. Good save from Rose. It was straight at him, but disturbing signs nonetheless, as Rose will look for the long kick, I assume. Does just that. Big ball over the top. Nobody there. Defender doesn't do well with it. And he might now be pressed, but they get out okay. The goal scorer Dixon Bonner to Daniels, and now Williams. Forward they come. They're starting to dominate. Finds Bolton on the right. Up to Marr, and this is where the front three can be problematic. We've not got anyone really dealing with that number 10. The moment Titchmarsh is dropping deep and almost creating 4 centre halves. As Gordon gets it on the left. Carries inside. He's got space to run into. Oh, come on. If there's one area you shouldn't be getting dominated, it's out wide. Rose makes a good save. You've got to compete there. That's unforgivable, I'm afraid. They've got an extra man at the back post, which I'm a little worried about. But Rose comes and claims it. Brilliant goalkeeping. And exactly what Indeed didn't do against Watford. Well, half-time coming up. Joe Tomlinson has got a broken finger. I think he'll manage all right at left-back with that. I'm proud of the efforts because, again, we are competing pretty evenly with EFL sides and their established teams. This year is about, well, now making the top half because of the board expectation, but also getting settled at this level. We've played just over an hour. Presley is really struggling. Ferry we know can't do any longer. So it's going to be Mooney on and Cardwell on as those two. Two of the old tried and trusted, the goal threats from the National League. Can they step up and do it here? Cardwell has proven so. Mooney's only got the one. There's Bolton on the right here with a chance to cross into Gallagher. Cuts back again. Too good. It's too good for us, I'm afraid. We're just missing out in those key moments. We had it against Orient away where we should have lost. We had it against Swindon with individual errors, but on this occasion, it is just class, isn't it? And now we've got another knock. I'm going to take Lomas off for Nallo. I'm going to bring Morehouse on for Earing. I'm going to take Hilton off for Michael Dewenny. And I'm going to hope these boys can do it. Maybe it's a tactical mistake, this. I don't know. But I felt it was the right way to go. We're going to encourage. We're going to be positive. We're going to push for the last 10 minutes. Despite that, we're doing defending again, though, as they cross from the right-hand side. I mean, that's so easy. It's so easy. You've got 3 centre-halves. None of them are marking the one player in the box, which is baffling. It's then just a thumped cross over the top. It's nothing great. And then again, what has been a fairly even game stats-wise, we've given away 3 very good chances and we suffer another defeat. We've dropped points on the road every time this season, but at home until then we look good. Maybe it's my fault because this is the first time I've changed from the 4-4-2 and not impressed ourselves on the games. And that could be the issue, I guess. If we're not pushing, if we're not trying to enforce our style on this game, then at home, what do you possibly expect? Let's go and see what the injuries are like. But ultimately, we're going to have 2 or 3 new players in by this time tomorrow. We are still in the top half at the moment. We're doing a job for now. It's been an okay start. I mean, we're 4 points off the top. Let's not get too upset. But we do need a couple of additions. And I think that game maybe showed a couple of the weak areas. Let's get ahead to deadline day. We'll be back in a minute for any news. It's deadline day in the EFL. You can see we're being linked already with a couple of big players. The goalkeeper from Ebbsfleet who I've talked about, but we don't need now. I'm also interested though by Victor Adebayo being linked with Bradford because he's a striker who might solve my problems. I'm not sure we'll be able to get him though. Wanted by clubs in Australia on loan and a big wage contribution for what is going to be someone who's pretty much a rotation option. We are looking at getting a few from Southampton. We have offered a few loan deals, to be honest, because I just want to get people in. And where I can't find my long-term solutions, I want to get short-term ones in that don't cost the club the world. It's a very simple strategy. We bought in Lewis Page last year. He's stuck here on a 2-year deal and we can't get him off the book. So I don't want too many like that. We have, though, made some offers already. A few loan deals potentially coming in. I'll keep them a surprise for if and when they are added to the squad. But for now, let's go and take part in deadline day. There's a few of the offers you might be expecting to see, and Jack Kingdon is getting interest from leagues above, something that is very much a concern for me. Let's go and get through the last 15 hours. We'll be back when we've got some news. Transfer news as we move through deadline day, and there's going to be a positional problem here because we're missing out on a lot of centre halves. We've gone for a couple of ambitious loans, a couple of realistic loans, and they've all chosen to go elsewhere. However, first deal of the day will be a permanent one. Saxon Early will join the club, 1.2 grand a week as a first choice left wing back. Also an option for him to play as centre half or in centre midfield. He is a player on a long-term deal. Where I got Tomlinson as my short-term experience fix, I've now got a big solution. Early at 22 is a brilliant signing, has played League One, Championship and League Two football, and is a very talented young player with a good personality. So versatile as well. The perfect addition. In he comes. Next one is probably going to be Billy Vigor. We've got to make a bit of a decision on him, but I'm looking at today and thinking if we can get Vigor, maybe Dan's as well, and then perhaps the centre half. These two were just in case. Then I think we'll be pretty happy. So Billy Vigor is going to come in. We're only paying 10% of his wages from Ipswich. Can play off both sides and up front. Just a good solution for us. A sensible addition. They're the first two arrivals of the day. I'm thrilled with them. What we are going to do as a result of that is reject the 17-year-old from Southampton, which is a bit of a risk because we were going to sign him half blind, which you often would from a parent club, but we're not going to bring him in. We've got what we need with Billy Vigor and with Early, who can both play there. So let's not worry about that one. It's all about Jayden Dans and a striker. 11 hours to go. Well, Saxon Early joins as a 3-star ability player with 3.5-star potential. We've asked Mooney to welcome him because he's a very important part of the squad. You can see he's not quite as good as Tomlinson at the minute, but he offers us depth. Crucially stops Ferry from having to play left back as well. Really important addition, that one. Vigor exactly the same, adds quality to the squad. Not going to be playing every game, but certainly when we're playing in the three up front, does give us an option there. We're going to bring him into the squad. We're also going to bring Early in. And then a big addition is Jayden Dans. We're going to pay 140 grand for a 19-year-old striker from non-league. But I feel it's worth the punt. He scored goals galore. He's playing really well. Has also contributed plenty to Liverpool's youth team in the first season. I'm going for it. Let's accept that deal. Jayden Dans is joining us, and how good is he going to be? He has 3-star ability, 4.5 potential, ended the big concern about dynamics with Scott Morris, and crucially, Harry Cardwell is upset, but we're going to say he's not going to play your position. Don't you worry about that. Harry Cardwell, you're a target man. And this is the man who might well be alongside you because Jayden Dans has got big potential. We're going to welcome him to the club. Now it's just the centre half we need with 9 hours to go. Well, I've been scouring the market for the last hour with both John Still's suggestions and our scouting reports, and these are the two that I've gone for. Ryan Astley will be the first choice option as a loan deal from Rangers at centre half. He will hopefully add a bit of depth. But if not, we'll go for this guy, Tom Clayton. He is 250 grand. I don't really want to spend it. I don't want us to be that weak. He's a massive upgrade. He can play centre half, left back, left wing back or in midfield. He's left footed naturally. He's good on the ball. I mean, he does offer a lot to the team. I've got to give him that. A pretty similar player to Saxon Early actually. So we're going to negotiate terms with him as well. We've offered trials to a couple who would be great, but we just haven't got the wage bill to meet yet. They're talking 3-4 grand a week, which we can't afford to pay. So we'll offer this guy a deal, see if we get Astley, and one of the two will hopefully be our last signing of the day. With 45 minutes to spare at the end of the window, and with me starting to sweat, we have got a solution. Derby County have saved us. Daniel Cox is the man coming in. He is a 19-year-old left-footed centre-half. Weirdly, the one that we bid 250 grand for, his agent said he wanted 1.4 grand a week. When the offer was accepted, suddenly it's 4.5. Astley got a championship move, can't blame him. But this guy, a Welsh under-21 international, natural left-sided balance, a good defender. Not the best on the ball, but we'll live with that. Just a good player overall, and I'm happy to have him in. No wage contribution, which means it's not really a gamble. Has played a full season for Barrow last year at this level, and done a pretty solid job. So we've got to be pleased with him. Daniel Cox is the final arrival of deadline day. And finally, we've got our squad complete. No way that this is a panic buy for Saxon early. Gracie Walker, that is a very naughty thing to try. Let's go and get through the final 45 minutes and reflect on what has been a whirlwind of a day. We've still got one player on trial as well. Well, there we go. The window has closed and crucially, we got our centre half in the end. It was a busy deadline day. We've spent the most money. We've had the most players out. We've certainly not signed the biggest names because Corley Woodrow to Notts County is ridiculous. Let's have a look though at what did happen in the end because 9 signings became 13 on transfer deadline day. Saxon Early is the first to join the club. The permanent addition, a very good player. 1.2 grand a week on a 3-year deal. And certainly not this season, but from next one on, will probably be our first choice left back. So thrilled to have him here. He's also natural in the wing back role, so suits both tactics, which we know is crucial. Then a couple of loan players. Billy Vigor, he was the first one who offers versatility in all of those front 3 roles. Just a good player to bring in, happy to be a squad player and not much wage contribution. The big signing of the day, and our second player to pay a fee for this summer, is a new centre forward. We've taken a gamble from non-league on a player I believe we can make a big profit on. 140 grand for Bromley's top scorer, Jaden Dans. He comes in as our advanced forward, has an option up front alongside Dewenny, now alongside Vigor as well, but also has massive potential for the future. And also Daniel Cox, the final one of the day, on loan with 45 minutes to spare. Apparently has Premier League potential and is a youth international. The problem is we're going to miss him in the international breaks with Parker, but otherwise for the big games that matter in the league, he is going to be available. And as you saw today with the back 3, him instead of Lomas, probably going to be a good thing for the club. So that's deadline day done and dusted. Of course, there will be a few outs from the club, I'd imagine, but they're going to be loans to non-league clubs. So it doesn't really matter if they happen now or not. The non-league window, as we saw last year, remains open all the way till March. But it just means we've got a slightly bigger squad now. We've got 3 of those 4 new players who can play tomorrow against Sutton in the EFL Trophy, just get themselves off the mark for the club. And hopefully by the time that we get to the next episode, they'll all be settled in and doing well. That is going to come probably in around 6 to 8 weeks' time. I'm looking partly at the FA Cup first round in Notts County, which on paper is the trickiest game in the league. But I'm also looking just before it. We've got the likes of Crewe, Fleetwood, Gillingham back-to-back. There's some really tasty games in here. So we'll see where the league table sits in a month and a half, and we'll try and decide when is the best time to come back. But for now, if you did enjoy this one, a disappointing defeat against Walsall was described by the media as a tactical blunder, but now we've got the players that we can adapt to it. And please do put a thumbs up on it. Let me know what you thought of that, by the way. Should I stick with a successful 4-4-2 at home, or should I try and adapt to the opposition tactic? I'm interested to get your thoughts on that. As it is, the table's really tight. Next episode, we could be in the bottom 2 or the top 2. You just don't know. I would expect us to probably be settling in nicely in the bottom half of the top half. But we'll wait and see if I'm right. If you want to stay up to date and find out, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back with a head coach tomorrow as these 2 long-term stories rotate each day before this one returns on Friday at the normal time. A massive thank you for your support as always. You can follow the Twitch channel, the football podcast and so much more up in the eye above. You can also check out that head coach save if you've missed it so far. But for me, a very successful deadline day. Let me know if you agree in the comments and I'll see you back here in a couple of days' time to find out how they've all settled in.